Subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon to never miss an update from Kautilya's Fincast.
Welcome to Kautilya's Fincast for February 1st, 2021 to February 15th, 2021.
Let's begin with corporate news.
The Delhi High Court sought to know whether US-based e-commerce giant Amazon and Lead Future Retail Limited were open to resolving the issue arising out of 24,713 crore deal. The Central Board of Direct Taxes, on Monday, further extended the due date for filing declaration under the Viwad Se Vishwas scheme, till February 28, 2021. Indian Oil Corporation could create a subsidiary for its retail assets to help unlock value, the head of finance at India's largest refiner, Bharti Airtel's board will consider financing strategies and fundraising plans, debentures, bonds, and loans, as the telecom sector gears up for spectrum auctions and rollout of new age technologies. Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries Limited has sourced the world's first consignment of carbon-neutral oil from the US, as it looks to become a net-zero carbon company by 2035. The launch of grocery comes at a time when Amazon India and Reliance JioMart are digitizing kiranas and MSMEs, and boosting their B2B play, to take advantage of India's consumer base. Indian corporates are rushing to tap the offshore bond market, to raise debt, with the market also opening up to high-yield, or junk bond issuers. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited signed a contract valued over 100 crore, with GE Aviation for development and supply of ring forgings, for its aviation military and commercial engine programs. Suzuki Motor Corporation, Toshiba Corporation and Denso Corporation plan to turn their joint manufacturing facility, for lithium-ion cells in Gujarat, into a global export hub. Amazon on Thursday confirmed plans to install artificial intelligence-imbued cameras in delivery vehicles, describing it as part of an initiative to keep drivers safe. "We are extremely concerned by orders to shut down the internet in Myanmar," said Rafael Frankel, Facebook's Director of Public Policy, APAC Emerging Countries. Sanjeev Group backed, the Sold store has launched official Liverpool merchandise in India. The merchandise would include a range of t-shirts, shorts, joggers, jackets, sweatshirts and socks priced between 899 rupees and 2000 rupees. Billionaire Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries has picked up 2/3 of its own new gas from KG-D6 block, that was auctioned under new rules, with state-owned GAIL and Royal Dutch Shell getting smaller volumes. ITC said it has leveraged e-commerce as a distribution channel in the aftermath of the pandemic. The segment has grown by over 100% since the beginning of the pandemic. Among features to be introduced is a tool that allows TikTok's most popular users share links to products and automatically earn commissions on sales. South Korean automaker Hyundai and its affiliate Kia denied news reports that they were in talks with Apple for a joint project to make autonomous electric vehicles. Fintech solution providers and developers can submit their solutions, which should be unique, to simplify authorization and integrate the innovative technology into UPI. The Hackathon Challenge will be a global contest for individuals and enterprises offering technology solutions in payments. Digital financial services platform Paytm announced the expansion of its rent payments feature. Now, the tenants can also transfer their monthly rent instantly to the bank account of their landlords through their credit cards. After an impressive win by Team India in the cricket test series against Australia earlier this year, advertisers have been queuing up for slots as India takes on visitors, England, in the 2-month series. Having collaborated with social entrepreneurs since 2012, the furniture giant has provided work for about 30,000 people, impacting almost 150,000 family members. An advisor has been appointed and the talks have passed the early stage. If Grofers merges with a SPAC entity already listed in US, it gets fresh liquidity. Grofers has also been through a few failed acquisition and funding talks with Zomato and Paytm Mall. United Airlines Holdings Incorporation's plans to buy up to 200 flying taxis from an electric aircraft startup, as the airline industry seeks new technologies to reduce its carbon footprint. This service will be rolled out to customers in Bengaluru, New Delhi, Ahmedabad and Mysore over the next 2 weeks, and to all customers in cities where Fresh is serving, in the upcoming months. RIL has stopped disclosing quantitative information in recent quarters, which is a cause for concern, according to nearly half a dozen analysts. The lack of disclosures leads us to believe that RIL's business have been severely impacted by the crisis. The opportunity for solar power industry will continue to remain buoyant, had robust order inflows of 7,046 crore during the year till date, CEO added. Board has approved creation of new, wholly owned subsidiary company, for focusing on gas and LNG business value chain, subject to necessary approvals. This program brings Wipro and Telefonica Germany, O2 together, to allow for risk-mitigated self-funded transformation that will benefit both companies. It will also invest in developing a digital business support platform that will fuel Telefonica Germany's growth. Tata Motor also said that it aims to make JLR a net zero carbon business by 2039. Future models of Jaguar will be built exclusively on a pure electric architecture, Tata Motors said. Volkswagen, the world's second-largest car maker, says it was made aware of the chip shortage by one of its suppliers at the end of November, but that warning came too late. The spokesman said 325 people including engineers, officials, scientists and geologists of NTPC, THDC, CISF, UPNL and their subsidiaries are stationed at the project site to speed up the rescue work.
Let's begin with market news.
The finance minister announced a slew of measures to support the economy, including a renewed thrust on capex and infrastructure spending. The government will capitalize the DFI with 20,000 crore, allowing it to leverage debt of up to 5 lakh crore rupees in 3 years, to provide much-needed financing to the capital-starved sector. A working group constituted by SEBI last year had suggested that AMCs should set up a limited-purpose clearing corporation for clearing and settling repo transactions in corporate debt securities. The IPO, to raise around 1,176 crore by Indigo Paints, was subscribed 117 times with a price band of 1,488 to 1,490 rupees in the 3-day share sale that closed on the 22nd of January. Shree Cement's volume growth of 15% year-on-year was ahead of the street's 11 to 12% growth expectation. Ultratech saw a volume growth of 14% year-on-year in Q3, with it aiming to become net debt-free by financial year 23. Tata Consumers shares hit a new 52-week high on the 12th of January to nearly Rs 635 apiece. Since then, the stock has corrected by about 8% and is trading marginally shy of the price it ended 2020 with. Sony Corporation's shares surged as much as 10.4% to a 20-year high, after raising its annual operating income outlook by 34%, banking on robust game sales and Apple Inc.'s iPhone 12. Bharti Airtel Limited has beaten Reliance Jio's net subscriber additions figure by a wide margin. Airtel added 14.2 million subscribers, whereas Jio added 5.2 million subscribers in the December quarter. SBI reported a gross bad loan ratio of 5.44%, a sequential drop in December quarter. It showed rare conviction among peers over ramping up lending to the economy by a more robust asset quality performance. Oil rose towards $60 a barrel in London as global supplies tighten. While the demand outlook improves with the rollout of coronavirus vaccines, Bitcoin rose as much as 5.6% to $39,959, taking it closer to early January's all-time high of almost $42,000. That helped the market value of digital tokens scale a new peak. S&P 500 and Nasdaq indexes gained since the US elections in early November, boosted by optimism over earnings, stimulus talks and progress on vaccine rollouts. JSW Steel Limited joined 1 trillion rupee market capitalization club, as its shares surged more than 200% from their March 2020 lows and settled at 417 rupees and 35 paise on BSE. India's central bank will target to buy more than $41 billion of sovereign bonds in the year starting April 1, to cap benchmark yields at about 6%. Dogecoin climbed to a peak of about 8.2 US cents and a market capitalization of $10.5 billion. After billionaire Elon Musk, rapper Snoop Dogg, and Kiss bassist Gene Simmons tweeted about it, oil prices rose to their highest in just over a year, with Brent nudging past $60 a barrel. Boosted by supply cuts among key producers, and hopes for further U.S. economic stimulus measures. In the Finance Bill 2021-22, it has been proposed to have a reservation, to an extent of up to 10% of the issue size, in favor of life insurance policy holders of LIC. A high-level committee suggested that all the private cryptocurrencies, except any virtual currencies issued by state, will be prohibited in India. Brent crude was up 42 cents, at $61.51 by 11:15 GMT after touching a 13-month high of $61.61, its longest winning streak in 2 years. Markets regulator SEBI is considering a proposal to introduce a framework to ascertain the incidence of technical glitches, whereby compensation would be given to investors. Dow hit a record high, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq hovered near all-time highs, as investors bet on more fiscal stimulus to ride out a coronavirus-driven recession. Tesla boss Elon Musk, who has been very vocal about his preferences for cryptocurrencies, tweets he has recently bought Dogecoin for his son X-A12, extending his support to cryptocurrency. For December quarter, HDFC Limited reported net profit of 2,930 crore, down 65% from a year ago. Net interest income rose 25% while operating profit grew 29%. IRCTC will restart operations of railway stages trains on Lucknow-New Delhi and Ahmedabad-Mumbai routes from 14 February. Ease My Trip will look to exploit a surge in liquidity in primary markets that has led to blockbuster demand for IPOs in recent months. CDSL has become India's first and only listed depository to open 3 crore plus active Demat accounts. It is currently the largest depository in the country in terms of active Demat accounts. Markets regulator SEBI is in the process of setting up a cybersecurity fusion center, a move aimed at detecting cyber threats faster and resolve such incidents efficiently and effectively. Platinum surged above $1,300 an ounce for first time in more than 6 years, on bets that a recovery in industrial demand and stricter emissions rules will tighten supply of metal. Indiabulls Housing Finance Limited has been shedding its troubled wholesale loan book, and continued to do so even in the December quarter.
Let's begin with economy news.
While a 10% increase in budgetary outlay on infrastructure was expected, the government has committed 5.54 lakh towards infrastructure in 2021-22, as against 4.39 lakh in 2020-21, with an increase of 26%. The transformation of 10% of 13 million traditional grocery retailers in India could boost retail consumption by more than 5% and generate approximately 3.2 million new jobs in India. The economic survey gave us key numbers for GDP growth: 6 for -7.7 and 11 for 2021 to 2022. Highest growth in the world for India seemed on the cards. Government bets on a real GDP growth of 10% to 10.5% in coming financial year and the multiplier effect of infrastructure push for jobs to boost the economy to the developments. A mammoth spending plan of $500 billion expected to jumpstart growth in economy, but may not be enough to make a dent in the rising unemployment and poverty India has battled. As per the budget of financial year 2022, effect from July 1st, final findings in cases of reviewing anti-dumping and countervailing duty to be issued at least 3 months before expiry of this duty, especially those who were hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. The finance minister maintained status quo as far as the income tax slabs and other tax relief measures are concerned. Clarity is needed when investors switch between equity and debt funds, or invest in ULIP debt funds. Clarity is key, as it will impact the popularity of the ULIPs. Some tax experts believed that gains from policies, where sum assured is less than 10 times annual premium, should be offered to tax under the head income from other sources. In major structural reform, RBI will soon allow retail investors open gilt or GSEC accounts with the central bank, a move that will help deepen bond markets in India. The budget of financial year 2020-21 sought to ensure the tax certainty, and even where tax law provisions were changed, the idea was to provide clarity and to minimize litigation. Former Union Minister Suresh Prabhu termed the Union budget of financial year 2020 to 2021 as historic, and said it will create the new development opportunities for the Indian economy. India's stock market is now the 7th biggest, up 3 spots, in the world as total market capitalization increased to $2.7 trillion. The BSE Sensex crossed the 51,000 marks. The January jobs reports continue to bear that out. Some 275,000 women left workforce last month, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, compared with 71,000 men. Kim laid out detailed tasks for the party to attain economic goals of increased iron and steel production and investment, as well as push for better infrastructure, transportation and constructions. India is at the lower end of scale of fiscal stimulus, but significantly, GFD to GDP ratio stood at 9.5% for 2020-21, and will be 6.8% in forthcoming years, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said. The Modi government has given priority to the health and welfare measures following the COVID-19 outbreak to focus on the health of people. Inequality problems have been made worse for many women during the pandemic, since the loss of jobs in the private sectors, with the government economic support policies skewed towards men. As per the Mega Food Park Scheme guidelines by the Indian government, the scheme provides a huge capital grant, at the rate of 50% of the eligible project cost in general areas. SPI on the 41 high-frequency leading indicators, 51% are showing acceleration, which should help economy turn around to green from third quarter, with a 0.3 percent point growth stage. The European Union's executive body predicts that the growth in the 19 nations, using the euro among them, will reach by 3.8% this year and next after a 6.3% drop in 2020. The budget for 2021-22 has failed, as even a small amount of cash transfer has not been given to the poor, and the rations are not being continued with. The economy shrank 9.9% last year, more than twice figure for 2009 at height of global financial crisis. The Office for National Statistics, the drop is largest since 1709. As might be expected, the full-year statistics make grim reading, with real GDP down 9.9% versus 2019, the worst annual performance on records. The second quarter was the weakest. Along with farm laws, Modi government has passed labor reforms and promised to privatize major companies. This has led to an economic right-left divide, and that's a good thing. Indian Railways launched its first ever 3-tier economy class coach, which is equipped with air conditioners. The train ran its first journey on tracks of Rail Coach Factory Kapurthala. The budget, release of the 15th Finance Commission's reports, and the Reserve Bank of India's final bi-monthly monetary policy for 2020-21 make a dismal reading in the outcomes. The Indian economy shrunk by a record of 23.9% in June quarter in the lockdown, and saw a contraction of 7.5% in second quarter, post-uplift of the lockdown. The economy still faces important risks, as it transitions from stabilization to recovery, and country faces a permanent loss of about 10% of GDP output versus its pre-pandemic path. The economic impact of pandemic is set to lead the country's GDP to contract by 7.7% in financial year 2021, and RBI expects the GDP to jump by 10.5% in financial year 2022.